Let's go get him again. Elite circle, third eye open, left hand holding, right hand smoking, flow still potent. Managed to score, yet I ain't open. Was on my beach chair, yeah, I ain't folding. Pardon my hiatus. It takes time when you live in life. In my mind, I'm preparing for greatness.
Welcome back, people. This is Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast. I'm your boy, Mr. Prez, and with me always,
it's your boy Cash, aka Exec P. What's happening, good people?
Man, Cash. For the new people who ain't never heard us and don't know what we're about, please enlighten them.
This is Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast, a podcast about music, sports, entertainment, culture. Each and every week, that's what we aim to give you guys. A little bit of artist production. We'll give you people that's in the culture that's doing great things in the community. That's what we strive to do each and every week. So, I mean, I'm excited, man. 2022, we here, first episode, bro. So I'm excited to be back.
First episode of 2022. This episode number what?
Shit, I lose count, man. But I think the last
episode
one. So
141. I got you, Cash.
141.
I got you, Cash. We 141, and man, we've been doing this for a minute now. So, like you said, we kicked off last year. We said we was gonna get some interviews in, and I think we did that. We did it a lot. I mean, we met a lot of people, talked to a lot of different, introduced fans to a lot more other artists out there, some of the underground artists, and then we continued to talk about what we usually do, you know, our sports and our music. So I think 2021 was a great year for us, growing in this podcasting thing that we do. So, but 2022 going to be that much better. So just want to go ahead and start off the year right, you know, continuing with the great parts that we brought in for 2021 with the interview.
Yeah, for sure, man. And with that said, like this year we wanted to level up and do it. We got some producers on last year, but with that wasn't a focus of ours. But as we progressed, we were like, hey, man, we got to involve all different facets of the culture. It just can't be the artist, because we know the producers are the sound bed to anything that these artists do, to allow them to continue to focus on writing the rhymes and singing, you know, as far as R&B goes. So with that said, our man King James, he sent me a verse a couple months ago, actually. And this verse ultimately ended up on the producer that we had for you today, Merakai's project, self-titled Merakai. So, I mean, it's that simple. I'm not going to lay into it anymore. I'm not going to belabor the point. Let's bring him to the couch, Prez. You ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So welcome into the couch for the first time. Merakai, what's going on, man?
Yeah, what's going on? Thank you guys for having me. Happy to be here.
Hey, man. Well, we're happy to have you, man. So, I mean, first and foremost, I mean, happy 2022, man. Happy New Year, man. How's it feeling so far as the new year and the new energy as far as the project's concerned?
Man, it's exciting. It's going into a new year, you know, because I dropped this project last month, so I've only had it out for only like a month now. But I'm already going into 2022, you know, excited for new projects, to work with new people and just expand my audience and try to just grow more as an artist too.
You know, just like we like to open up and get to know you and where you're from and what you're about. With one question, we like to start with one question. You know, how did you fall in love with hip hop and in particular production? Man,
I got into hip hop maybe around 8th grade. And it's funny because I know like the moment I really got into hip hop, one of my friends back in middle school lent me the Snoop Dogg Doggy Style CD. And, we all know like that's one of the best West Coast classics ever. It's like just a classic all around. And as much as I love Snoop on that album, Dre's production is like really what geared me into hip hop. And so after listening to that, I delved into a lot of 90s stuff. I was a very like 90s golden age hip hop kid. So I got into Nas, Mobb Deep, Wu-Tang, Biggie, a lot of East Coast stuff, as well as West Coast as well. And then you have artists like Outkast, Pharcyde. And so I just really started delving into them. And what always stuck me out was like the production of everything. I went from like the lyrics of it all to just understanding production, looking up how artists like our producers made their beats, sample credits, and that's what really like geared me in. But yeah, man, I gotta give credit to Doggy Style. That was for sure the very first album I heard that made me fall in love with hip hop.
I got a question about this Snoop thing too. I mean, because Snoop's such a pivotal character, you know what I mean? Everybody loves Snoop nowadays, but I remember, you know, him kicking down the towers and everything in New York, you know, starting up the little ruckus. It was a great time. But so you talked about the sampling and everything. I know Dre them did that heavily when he was coming up. So like, can you start us off with that? Just telling us a little bit about what you learn from like sampling on the producing side. Like, how do you get in and get those get it released so you can sample?
Man, I mean, for me it was just I don't know, starting with Doggy Style. Like the production is just like, it's just incredible, man. And the fact that something about that album really made me like geared towards just the production. Like I was looking up just instrumentals of the album. Not to say like Snoop didn't do his thing, because we all, you know, I'm pretty sure we can all recite like a lot of the lyrics on that album, but just production and the way that it makes you feel, like you said, it's like the sound bed of like the whole album. So I really was into just getting into how like samples were flipped. Like if you heard some of the stuff, not just on Doggy Style, but just in general, it really blows you away, like how people can turn something that was made probably like in the 70s, maybe that's just like a 8-bar loop, and turn it into like a whole song, and it just becomes its whole new life, you know? So that's really what geared me towards production. And doing production is kind of like my way of contributing, because there's no way, like me personally, like I'm not a rapper at all. So that's what helped me be able to contribute to music.
So with that said, we were all laughing in pre-production because Prez and I were trying to figure out like, damn, I can't find his voice and it's distinctive. And then, you know, I know Prez is going to get to it later, so I won't steal his thunder on another question that you're going to have to help us iron out as far as being a producer. But yeah, we were like, yo, who is he? How does he sound? Like it sounds different on every single track. So can you let the people in on that as far as that little tidbit and behind the scenes banter that we had earlier?
Yeah, man. So on this EP, I do none of the rapping. But it's funny, like when I was, I'm 23 now. When I was around like 14 years old, which is when I started, I did want to rap, like, because I was into a lot of rappers, like, you know, like I was mentioned earlier, like Nas, AZ. Then you had underground cats like MF Doom, Blue, Elzai. I was really into a lot of those artists. And I had like a little stint where I tried to rap. And on YouTube, there's like this video where I do like a freestyle over Clan in the Front by Wu-Tang, like that instrumental. And it's still on there. I'm never gonna show anybody that, but it's still on there somewhere. But that didn't go so well because, you know, like it wasn't my thing. So all the production on this EP is me. And yeah, I started around 14 years old and I'm 23 now. So I'm going almost a decade.
You know what I mean? Because that's a pretty young age.
Hold on. I won't let you get to your question. You have to remember that, Cash, and come back to it. I gotta ask this though.
Go ahead.
Ain't no way in hell I want something that I did at 14 that I feel like is embarrassing out there still for everybody to look at. Like, man, you gotta have you gotta be strong mentally, like to just leave that out there and not let it bother you, and just saying like, hey, that's the way it kind of started. That so I could do that.
Man, it's funny. I remember I recorded that in my garage on the laptop microphone, not an actual microphone, not even a phone. Like it was just a microphone on the laptop, and it was like in the garage next on like my laundry, like on my dryer. It was bad, man. But I keep it up, one, because I'm no more, so I can't even delete the video if I wanted to, and two, it's just I can still find it, and it's just a reminder, like a humble reminder of just like where you started.
Yeah, I like it as a home video. Let it be a home video. I ain't gotta have it out there for everybody else to see all the time. So
no one's heard it, man. None of my closest friends, not even my girlfriend. No one's heard it. Just me. Just me's heard it.
All right, Cash, you can go ahead.
Yeah, man. I was saying, like, as far as equipment, how do you begin that? Because you got people from all ages, as I've seen, and as I've gotten back on social media the last couple of years as we started this podcast. Like you got people from, you know, the age of 14, apparently, you know that they want to do this thing all the way up until now, you know, but one thing that you find that's kind of hard to do is, you know, the equipment. What should you get? What is enough? You know, what do I need? Like, how did you come to that over the course of, you know, I guess from your early years up until now?
Man, just a lot, like you said, a lot of YouTube, a lot of research in the internet, just asking people in forums, like what exactly you need. And it's kind of hard when you're first starting out because there's not one definitive answer. Like some people are straight to MIDI and do everything on the computer. Some people are still analog. Some people still use gear where you need a bunch of equipment. So it was really hard trying to figure out like what exactly you need because everyone makes music differently. But you know, I just did a lot of research on forums. Like there's this forum called Future Producers, and I just asked people on there what exactly they use. And me personally, I use this MIDI called MPK 25. And yeah, I asked my parents because they've known I've always been into music, and so they got it for me. And funny enough, that was when I was 14, and all the beats that I made on this project are still beat controller. And I tell people all the time, like, you don't really need much. It's always the person behind it. Like the gear doesn't make you; it's always you. Like anything you use, it's not going to make the music for you. You know, it's the person behind it. So if anyone needs, you know, is wondering like how to start off or what to buy, you know, just keep it as simple as possible because you don't want to invest a lot of money and find out this isn't for you. So, you know, I would just say keep it simple. And then the more you fall in love with it, the more I would say you can expand your gear. But as far as me, I've had the same piece of gear since I was 14. And that's what I made all the beats on this project with.
That's impressive. That's impressive. And I'll speak for myself. And Perez, you feel free to jump in because I know you had something about the sound of the entire project. Like it didn't feel. I mean, you've been doing it almost a decade now, and since 14, you would hope that you get better. But I mean, it sounded very well put together. Like you put a lot of thought into who would sound good on certain type of beats. What made you decide to get the artists that you got on here? I'll let you kind of divulge who you have on your project for your first project. Can you give us some of the names?
Man, I mean, it goes from Skyzoo.
What defines my name?
And what defines mine is knowing where I put it. There's a fine line between me and being godly. The divine kind is seeing me, seeing your goats. Pen out a Mont Blanc. I pen for me and you both. Double duty like prime time. I'm back on my greatest shit, but really never left it. So I'm still where I was resting, and I don't just be saying shit. If I say that I'm kingin', then bet that I'm Marloweing it. And bring whoever hotter they hiding by offloading shit. The range be everywhere, but the motive got all the scope in it.
You know, a lot of people know Skyzoo. That's someone that I definitely wanted on, especially because I heard to him was with his album with Apollo Brown, and Apollo Brown's going to be someone that you'll hear later on because he's a huge inspiration on this project. You know, Hype, a very talented underground rapper. Chinch 33, a turntablist, a DJ. He did all the scratches. My man, Dust Till Dawn, that's an actual friend of mine, and we did all the songs in person. So all the verses he has, we recorded at my house. Teddy Andres, Damone Tyrell, again, two people that are just very talented in their own right. Noir, another guy that we worked with Static Selecta, and that's how I got introduced to him. Novelist, Clear Soul Forces, and King James and Shay Noir. I mean, we talked about it earlier. King James is just one of the most underrated rappers I've ever heard, man. Like anytime I hear a verse from him, just it's cool. He has a bar on my song, talking about I call it's a bizarre ride. I call it the far side. Like when I first heard that, man, it's just like this guy just has a way of connecting metaphors and similes, and I just couldn't believe that I was able to get him because I'm like, there's people on the project that I reached out to where I didn't know like how the verse was gonna come out, and it's a surprise like to see like what they do. But there's artists like for King James where I was just like, dude, I cannot wait to hear it because I know he's gonna spaz on it. And that's exactly what he did. But all those people, I was either a fan for a long time, or I found their music and really delved into like their discographies and just was excited to work with them. Like everyone on here is someone I'm a fan of. There's not anyone on here that I felt like I was doing it just to do it. It was people that I genuinely listen to, like on a day-to-day basis.
That's dope, man.
So you're in Pasadena. These artists are all the way on the other East Coast. Like, like how does that sound? Is that what everybody's like listening to around there, or like how do you mold your hip hop catalog that you listen to on a daily to find these type of artists?
Man, I want to say, after I found Doggy Style, I really gravitated toward East Coast hip hop. Like some of my personal favorite albums come from East Coast. So I would say it's a coincidence that I gravitated towards them, but yeah, man, just reaching out to them, digging for people and finding them, or if I wasn't already a fan of them, just reaching out. But I want to say a lot of my taste in music coincidentally just comes from like East Coast music. Like for me, that's what my ear gravitates more. So it's funny enough that a lot of these artists you mentioned are from the East Coast.
Dope. So as far as the sound of the project and you doing your research with the artist, who's the most surprising guest that you were able to nail down, and who did you keep off? Who did you keep off or didn't respond that you reached out to?
Man, surprising. I was honestly surprised that Skyzoo got back to me. Not because it's just he's probably the biggest artist on this project, and me, just like I didn't have music out before this under this name. Like I had music out before this, but I used to make like lo-fi beats and like instrumental type stuff. So nothing serious, but yeah. So when I started this like under this name, I was surprised. I like the fact that he responded to me and was down to do a verse, and he even worked with my budget. He gave me his budget, or he gave me what his price was, and when I told him that was out of my budget, he worked with me and he delivered a really dope verse. And it's funny enough, I mean, that song he's on, the original instrumental is different, because I sent him a different instrumental, and he sent it. And when he sent me the verse back, I loved the verse, but I was like, man, like I got to do better on this beat if I'm going to have Skyzoo on it. So then I reworked the beat and made a whole new one. And then when he heard the song, he was like, man, like, I feel like my verse isn't lining up right. So instead of charging me to do it again, he just did it for free, and he sent it for me like the very next day, like very fast and professional. So Skyzoo is definitely someone that I didn't think I was going to get, but I'm super grateful for. But as far as people who I wanted, man, I was really hoping I could get Elzai. Like that was someone I definitely wanted, but I'm going to have to work harder, hopefully get him on the next project. But Elzai for sure is someone that I definitely want to work with.
Y'all hear that? See, within his budget, he worked with him and Skyzoo. That's a dope story, man. That Sky was able to do that and send a second verse. Like, a lot of those stories and folks that stand up like that, it happens behind the scenes, but it's always dope when you get to hear like an artist that you feel maybe out of your reach is just like a regular person, down to earth, understood. Right. That's definitely dope, especially for this to be your first big look. Having him open it up, you instantly had me locked in, because Prez knows this. Skyzoo is like one of my favorite artists, and also I'm from Brooklyn as well, so it's always dope to see that type of stuff happening, specifically for young up and coming producers. So that's a great story, man. Great story. Go ahead, Prez.
So I was gonna say, so going forward, like you saying this is you coming out producing under this name, and you gave this product, just a collection of artists and sprinkled throughout. So I want to know what direction are you planning on like taking on future projects? Are you looking to like link up with like a singular artist and go like let's say the Hit Boy route or anything, or are you gonna continue to make like a compilation type albums like this, like a la Russ did minus the rapping, and then or Kanye West just did on his Donda thing? He was doing a lot of production. He was on the songs. I wish he wasn't though. I mean, sorry. Sorry if you're a fan.
Come on, man. You had to start off the new year with your shenanigans, man. Oh, go ahead. Finish your question.
That was it. So which route are you planning on taking? Are you planning on taking the Hit Boy type Alchemist route? Just having and teaming up with a singular artist, or are you going to go more the compilation type albums like here on out? So,
man, I mean, right now, I've had ideas collabing with people and doing like a one producer, one rapper, like collab, like back how they used to do back in the day. But as of right now, I just want to establish myself as an artist first, because I think it's hard as a producer to establish himself as an artist, because there's not really like one voice you can attach yourself to. So first and foremost, I want to like establish my brand and my music before I do like a collab. But yeah, so I already have plans for the next EP. Like I want to drop an EP by the end of the year. It's same thing, like around 7 or 8 songs, collabing with different people. And then after that, just see where I go. But as of right now, I definitely just want to work on establishing my name first before I collab with people. But there's people on this previous project that I did where I would love to do like a full tape where it's just me and them. But as of right now, definitely just, continue to do collaboration projects with a bunch of different people just to establish, who I am as an artist first.
Nice. What makes you go against the grain instead of doing just beat, instrumentals and stuff like that? What makes you go against the grain and just like, let me put a whole, thing together? What made you do that? Because I don't see a lot of people doing it until they establish themselves, but you're coming out the gate trying to curate a sound with different artists. What makes you want to go that route?
Man, so yeah, when I first started making music, I did a lot of, it took a while to find out like what exactly was my sound. Like I started off making soul beats, then I went to just straight jazz beats, and then there was a couple years where I did lo-fi beats. Just did lo-fi beat tapes. And the thing about that is that genre got really oversaturated with the amount of people doing it and kind of the way that they thought lo-fi was. So it started getting a little, for lack of a better term, like it just started getting a little corny. And the stuff that I made, although it had like some success to it, I was never proud of it. And I never wanted to show people when I told them I made music. It always just sat on Spotify until, I want to say it was 2019. I forget what year it came out, but there was this Apollo Brown album called Sincerely Detroit, where he did the same thing, that I did. He just got a bunch of different rappers to rap on all his instrumentals. And I thought that was super cool. I thought, man, like this is a producer first, and he's getting rappers to just rap on his music. Like I didn't know that was a thing. So especially for this market, just like boom bap music. So then that gave me the inspiration to do it as well. Like, man, if I can establish myself as this, then that's the route I want to go. So that's how I got inspired to do a project like this. But it's just it's years of trial and error. Like I did lo-fi for years, and I got kind of tired of just putting out beat tapes. So I thought, man, I want to make like actual songs with lyrics that people can recite or just like play in their car around people. So Apollo Brown was definitely like the huge inspiration of the idea to get a bunch of rappers to get on my music.
All right, President, allow me, if you will, to stay right there in that lane. Before we let you go, we got the normal type of questions that we'd like to ask. As far as, being that you're a producer, we got to have some of your favorite. What are some of your favorite producers? We don't limit you to a number.
Man, I have this answer ready. Like I feel like as a producer, you got to have this answer ready, like no matter where you are. So, first and foremost,
go for it.
I think Madlib is the greatest producer in my opinion. Like he is just the things he does, man. Especially if you look at his catalog of what he's using as samples. Like there's things that he hears and turns into beats that if I heard, I would have just skimmed right by him. And there's no way I would have even used it. Madlib's definitely one. RZA. Man, his stretch from 93 all the way to the 2000s, producing all those Woo records and the solo records is just unbelievable, man. Going from from 36 Chambers all the way to Forever and all those solo records in between. It's just, I don't think there's a peak as good as that. Cause he goes from like the Cal to the ODB record to Only Built for Cuban Links, Liquid Swords, Iron Man. Like, dude, like most producers don't have that in their whole career. He did that in like three years. So RZA for sure. Dilla, of course, man, you know, Detroit, a huge inspiration as well. Alchemist, I think Alchemist has been around long enough where I think we can consider him up there, especially, you know, it's 2022. Last year, he had those albums with Boldy James, and it's, you know, it's still consistency. And Premier's another one, man. Just
yeah, sir.
Simplicity. But I think Premier like embodies what hip hop is. Like, it's sampling and it's simple, but it's just dope. Like, anytime you hear a Premier beat, you know it's Premier, and I think that's what I love about his music.
I could tell, especially by what you and if I'm saying his name wrong, correct me. Chinch 33, one of the
yeah, you got it.
One of the contributors to the project. So I could tell you have that influence. And man, like, that's crazy, man. Just being 23 for you to go back and do the research. I'm kind of refreshed that the game and music is still in the right hands, man, as far as, you know, willing to do the research, willing to go back and you know, you didn't mention anybody, you know, that's doing it right now as far as just, you know, cats within your age range and stuff like that. So that's dope that you always go back and do the due diligence to listen to some of the legends, which you mentioned a bunch of legends who have a lot of different projects out. So that's fire, man. Yeah. Before we let you go, 2022, you know, what do you see yourself by the end of the year? What are some goals, some hard goals that you have?
Man, first and foremost, I got to get another EP out. Like, in this day and age, you know, small artists can't do one project every 3 years or 4 years. Like, we have a very like short time. We got to stay consistent. We got to release music. I think yearly, man, to survive. There's so many people that make music nowadays. It you know, if you drop something once every 4 years, it's easy to get lost in the music. So I definitely want to do another EP. There's going to be a lot of people from the previous one that I want to bring back. I'm not going to name who, but King James for sure is going to come back, man. I haven't even told him, but I already have a beat ready for him. So I just got, when the time comes, I'm gonna send it to him. But if you're watching this, James, like, I'm gonna hit you up. I'm gonna hit you up soon.
I got the Lord on my side, but still sin like the rest. Yeah, look, since the minor, the flow been vicious. Was going good till I hit a fork on this road to riches. Get it all back, ain't no problem, I'm so ambitious. A ghetto poet shaped by the queen, the poem is rich.
The sooner it gets brighter, the more it gets bleak.
I be that verbal architect, traveling the continent, penning lyrical monuments. These artists haven't thought of yet. Who you calling vets? Sort of far-fetched. I am not impressed. You should call it quits.
We can make that happen. I'm sure he'll be back. I'm sure he'll be back.
He's a cool guy, man. He's a cool guy. He's
very down to earth
and humble. Yeah, so he's definitely one. A couple other people that I want on the project. Just have to reach out and hopefully make that happen. But that's one goal. And another one is, man, I've always wanted like a placement, like a major, like the artist placement. And it took until last year for me to realize, like, I think I have the I guess like the sound to make that happen. You know, like, for the longest, I never thought I could, you know, placement was out of reach. But I found out there's this lo-fi producer named Black BLVK, and he's relatively unknown. He's like around my age. He did two records off of J. Cole's album. He did one on For Your Eyes Only, and he did one off of I think it's called KOD. And he's my age. So every time I think about, like, man, I need to get like a placement, I just think about that guy, because, man, that's like inspiring to be that age and be able to get a placement from J. Cole. So that's definitely a goal this year, is to get like a major placement. And if it don't happen, there's always next year, man. Just gotta keep working. I always say, like, if I ever get rejected or if I get like turned down, it's never any offense. It's more just like, man, gotta get back to the lab and just create something better than something that's gonna be worth it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How many times we've been turned down for interviews? How many times we keep on reaching out? I keep shooting. I keep shooting a shot. I send text messages, try to be as personable. I don't like to spam, but eventually you're going to get that. Yes. Eventually you're going to get that Skyzoo, that Noir verse. Like, and the introduction to me for you as a producer is right there on par with some of the people I see doing it, for years. Like you could tell you have a trained ear and you've worked on your sound. So from us to you, man, keep doing your thing, man. No matter what, if we have somebody on the podcast that we can facilitate a conversation, if you like that artist that we have on, we'll definitely, try to do that. This podcast and what we're doing, this network, we're trying to expand and network with everybody and get everybody to work together, because we think that as a community, we can do a lot better together than apart. And we just playing a small part in it. So we can make any connections and can't make no promises, but we all need to network. So we're always here if you need anything, man. I think that's all I got for you, man. Thanks for taking the time and working through some technical difficulties earlier in the podcast, man. So we appreciate you coming on and taking the time. I know it's pretty early there in Cali on a Sunday. So we definitely appreciate you waking up and chopping it up with us. You got any last things for him, Press?
Yeah, man. So yeah, just appreciate it. Like, I think you was right on, like you said, just not putting out the instrumental tapes. This kind of opens the ear to like the people who, that's not gonna just the rappers looking for a beat. This gonna actually give the fans out there something to listen to, and they may say, "Oh man, this guy sounds good," and that could either just somebody hitting you up on Instagram and saying like, "Man, you probably sound good with this," and that probably give you a name that you never thought of that could link up. So hopefully that kind of works out, and I really do appreciate this. And then we appreciate this body of work that you got. And then when you were saying about the artists, when they was talking about putting it out multiple times a year, I just got one last little question on there. So with that, you're saying if they got to put out multiple times a year, do you prefer like an EP that people been doing, or do you think the album is kind of dying a little bit? I mean, especially like look at what Nas just came and dropped on Christmas Day. You know what I mean? Just the quick turnout, spit out, and like just give you that locked in sound and just hold you over for a little bit. Because usually if we got a Nas, we wasn't getting another Nas for about a year and a half.
Yeah, no, first of all, that album by Nas is amazing, man. I love that album. The fact that he just dropped it out of nowhere. And yeah, it takes a while. Like you said, like we with Nas, it went from Life is Good in 2012 to, I think it was that Nasir project. And that was
2017.
I think like 7 years in between. Yeah, it was like 5-6 years in between. But I think we live in a very like we're fast to take in media and then quick to take it out. Like I think we live in a very playlist era where people just save like songs or only specific songs off an album, put it in a playlist, and then just not really listen back to the album. Like, so for me, I think it's a matter, like I will always choose consistency with quality over quantity. As a listener, like I'll wait 5 years for a Kendrick album because I at least know like Kendrick's going to give me something that I'm not getting from anyone else. We're still waiting. I thought he was going to drop last year. And then
we had a conversation about
everybody else and go against his counterparts and actually be able to put it out with a J. Cole, a Meek Mill, a Drake, then have Kendrick up in there. You can see which one is truly the top in 1 year. But go ahead, I digress.
Man, I'm with you. I thought he was going to do that. You had Cole drop first, and you had Drake drop later. I was like, dude, if Kendrick wants to solidify himself as the best of our generation, like he has to drop this year, like especially because his other two counterparts for the last decade have dropped this year. But I don't think he works that way. I think he's just on his own pace. But for me, I think we live in a very like playlist era where people just save songs and keep them in a playlist and then move on. I don't think a lot of people really listen to full albums anymore. Like it's like when's the last time you heard like a concept album where it's like we hear from song one all the way to the last song, and it's like a complete body of work. And I think it has to do with just like the audience that's listening. They're just it's very quick. Like we take stuff in and then we're done with it in like in a week or so. But that's why I feel like if you're not putting out music, if you're not established and you're not putting out music, it's easy to get lost in all of it. So I think someone like Nas could take a break because he's established for damn near like 30 years now.
Yeah.
I think next year is going to be 30 years since Illmatic, right?
Yep.
About 2 years from now. 2 years from now.
So yeah, because he did 27 Summers for KD1. I think 27 Summers was on that, and that's what he was talking. Yep.
Yeah. So I think it's tough, like trying to find that balance of putting out a lot of music, but also being consistent and good. So for me personally, just gonna try to put out an EP just because it's easier, especially like budget wise. Like if I want to do an album, it's gonna cost way more than I could so right now it's just EP, and my plan is hopefully, if I can, anything that I make off of music is going right back into it. So after EP2, if I start making a little bit more income with this, I can, put in more for bigger features or work with bigger artists and hopefully do an album. But as far as like right now, I think people definitely geared towards playlists and just saving a couple songs.
As long as you keep doing what you're doing, things like the Skyzoo situation that you brought up earlier, those things are going to continue to happen. Some of the artists you may not necessarily have to pay for because they're going to want to get on a project of yours because they rock with your sound and everything like that. So I think what you're doing is dope. And, continue to do it, man. Like I said, any way we can support you, we will.
Before you head out, could you tell the people where to find you? Like you said, like you want to make ends meet. So where can they buy anything that you're doing? Or is it just, get on Spotify and play through it just so you can get the residuals off that? So,
man, right now, whatever streaming platform you're using, just look up my name, Merakai, Merakai. Just stream away, share it with a friend, share with someone that you think would enjoy it. And even if they're not a fan, share it with them. Maybe they'll find one song. I typically, when I listen to projects, even if I'm not a fan, I'll find one song I like, or at least one song that catches my ear. So yeah, just stream away. And if you know anybody that is an artist and is looking for something that I'm in the lane with, send them my way. I love collabing with people and just meeting people. And yeah, man, just stream away and just share with your friends. I don't got any merch. Maybe next project I'll have merch, but
hey, it's all good. It's baby steps. We started out with no merch, minimal plan, but we knew we wanted the podcast. So it's only up from there, man. Hopefully you get this band camp up and get the people supporting, man, because I think they're really going to support this project. You are on all types of lists on Twitter. I don't know if you're on there a lot. But you were on all types of lists from some ears that I actually respect on there. So you're making an impact with Project One. So hats off to you, man.
Appreciate that, you guys. And thank you guys for having me. I think it's really dope that you guys shine like a light on not lesser known artists, because it's hard to make make some noise when you're just starting out. So I think it's really dope that you guys give like lesser known artists a lot of attention, because quick side tangent, like I emailed, when I was promoting the project, I probably reached out to like 500 600 emails just trying to promote it. And it's difficult because like you'll get like major like hip hop blogs that support the community, but they really just be posting the same big artists over and over again. So I think it's really dope that you guys are saying, you know what, like we're gonna like shine a light on artists who are not lesser known and give them a platform. So respect to what you guys are doing.
Appreciate it.
The art of the put on. That's what we want to bring.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
Somebody talk to me other than just the big people. Give me somebody else new that's coming up. Let me know. Yep.
Sure. Right. So much good music out there, man. It's hard to find, but there's so much good music out there.
We sure enough love digging for it. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that's Merakai, producer out of Pasadena, California. Go check out his production, link up with him, pay the man so he could keep on putting out bigger and better projects. And once he has time to just focus on just the music, and that's it. Oh, sky's gonna be the limit for this young man. So he's only 23. He's doing his thing, man. Hats off to you. Episode 141, Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast. I go by Cash, aka Exec P. My man to my left, always to my side, Mr. Prez. He's here, and Merakai, man. So we out.